What's this fall camp like for you? Obviously, big expectations, I'm sure, for yourself, for this team. How you kind of approaching this year?
Honestly, I'm just having fun. I think football's like a really, really fun game around like all my best friends all the time. So I like a really nice like deal at camp. It's like a time where we all get to be together, get to get like really good get to get better as a team, and then just hang out, do fun stuff. You get to know a lot of people, but just having fun, just trying to like be the best I can be every day.
Were you ever close to going to Harvard?
Yeah, I was actually. I actually silent committed to the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And then I decommitted, and then my family did not talk to me for like a week. And like, cause it was just, I'm first generation college. So like my grandpa, like we're Greek, so we're like whole immigrant household. So like there's 3 colleges that ever like exist. It's like Harvard, West Point, and Yale. So then like it was pretty funny. So yeah, when I was decommitted from like an Ivy League school and back in high school, it was like my family was like, we worked like this hard, and then they ended up loving it. My grandfather, who wanted like probably like helped raise me like my whole life, and then he was like he didn't talk for like a week, and then after he's like, so how many Broncos are in the NFL now? Like they're good, they like it. And like, DeMarcus Lawrence, yeah, he plays in the Cowboys, right? I was like, yeah. He's like he was super into it after that.
Didn't he? Was he on the phone with the Harvard coach?
Yeah. So like a funny story behind that, like yeah. So he was at a coffee shop, and then like the Harvard coach called him and then kind of told him everything, and it was kind of like he was like, yeah, no way, and then telling all his friends and the thing. So he left Harvard, and then they all just got like super pumped. But yeah, I mean they talked a few times. Like that's kind of funny.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about your Boise State visit that like drew you to this place and this community?
I think it's just the family behind it. Like all the players like truly hung out. Like and it was really the fans. Like I came, it was like super hot. We played Troy. It was like at 2:00, and it was just the amount of people that were like still there. Like I'm sweating like absolutely like buckets, and everyone's still there, still screaming, and it was just like a crazy atmosphere. I remember when like Avery returned that kick, and everyone just like started going nuts. It was like the first time he touched the ball, and like he was later my host. So like, it was pretty cool. Just like that, experience that, and do like a cool group of guys, and something that kind of experience like later on was really, really cool.
I know for you, you've obviously had the injury and stuff, and you kind of, I don't say derailed, but slowed down your progression, I guess, to where you thought you'd be maybe at this point. How do you look at just your expectations and big picture, kind of what you think you can achieve, and just how you're kind of continuing your maturity here?
I think like that was something I really, really struggled with kind of last year, like kind of just like anybody. I mean, I had a pretty good freshman year, and then sophomore year started off pretty hot, had like a lot of tackles, made a lot of plays, and then have the injury, obviously. I thought you were going to come back in and just ball out like everybody thinks. And it's really, really hard on guys. And I think it's something I really, really struggled with. And it got like eventually later where you just have to have fun. Football's like a fun game. You can't put too much pressure on it. Just being like patient, and just kind of like being patient, present, and like kind of just deliberate is just kind of like the big thing. So it's just being patient with yourself. Eventually you'll get there. And it's really hard on guys who also have high expectations for themselves, because constantly I think like I should be here and I'm going to push myself to that. But then like I'm really just like pushing myself in a deeper hole, knowing like I am doing the best I can do, but thinking I can just do more and more, and really I'm just piling stuff on. And just being present in the moment. Football is a developmental game, so it's just like life. Like we're going to have stuff that knock us down. It's not going to be perfect every time, right? So just being present in the moment, like this is where we're getting better at. This practice, what can I get better at? This period, what can I get better at? Eventually it'll take care of itself. And then when I started doing that later in the season, started making plays, started doing fun stuff that like anticipated happened from the beginning. But that's just kind of how I just changed like my mindset now. It's just every day, like if I'm having fun playing football with my friends and I'm pushing myself and being kind of deliberate what I'm doing, I'm going to be happy.
Having the other, get through last season, get back to 100%, have the off season. I mean, how much better do you feel now, I guess, health-wise? And do you look around and say, okay, now Shane Irwin's gone, they moved Isaiah up to linebacker? I mean, do you put a lot on yourself that this team needs you to produce this year?
I do, yeah. I put a lot on myself always, right? It's just, I mean, last year, my first full day of full speed running was the first day of camp. So it's just like my first time like really like playing like a full thing and not being limited was our first game. So it's just kind of like now looking back on it, just kind of like the strange. I mean, I lost, at one point I lost about 40 pounds during the season, just from like my injury to where I finished at. And I think it's just something that's like, you just get developmental, and eventually like you just got to be patient with yourself. And then I had a lot of like crazy stuff that happened that year, and it's just kind of just like handling one thing at a time, right?
How much further along, or how much in a better position are you now to go into this year than you were last year?
incredible. Like, I feel it's really good. I'm really confident right now, which is awesome, and just like you just like feel like yourself. You feel like you're moving really, really well. You're stronger. You're just more confident. You're not thinking as much. I don't have that big old knee brace with me all the time. But it's just like, it's something that all the injured guys struggle with. It's something they warn you. I mean, I had like a big deal, like it was kind of a lot of things that happened to my knee. So just kind of being patient myself, and something I struggle with the injured guys. It's not going to be perfect right away. But if we're working hard and we're being deliberate, and I have to thank like my coaches, our strength coaches, Coach Av, Coach D, Coach Collins, who's not here anymore, Coach Miley, just for always like staying with me and just like trusting me, and just putting more and more on me at the time. So just like I was getting better every game, and I was getting more mad at myself, because like at the end of the day, no matter what anybody else says, or it's like fans or commenting certain things or other things, like at the end of the day, we're harder on ourselves than anybody else is going to be, right? So it's something that like once you kind of realize like we're going to be okay, like we're growing, like it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to us going through that.
When you ask players or coaches about Demitri Washington, you can like feel their words, like in terms of how much they want you to do good and have a chance to stay healthy and be on the field, and how much they believe in you. Do you feel that support from your players and your fellow teammates and coaches?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always like, since I've been here, it's always like a big deal to me, like make a difference in people's lives, whether that's like on the field, off the field. I feel like, I don't know, I'm always talking, like you see me at practice, whether it's like I'll joke around a lot. Sometimes coaches will have to check me, but like it's just something like, football's supposed to be a fun game, and like we're supposed to have fun while being here. I mean, if you told me when I was like 7 years old that I get to be playing on Saturdays on TV and ESPN and like get to be like my picture on like a side of a state, I would be like lose my mind, and like I'd think you're lying to me. So it's like, I think like it's super cool to like kind of like experience that, but like sometimes like with how much pressure college football is and how big it is, you lose faith, like you lose shape of that, and it becomes like a job, and then that's when it becomes hard on players and hard on this. Like if you're having fun, and that's all I can like say to players, like if I'm making people have fun, that's all I can ask for.
Despite your day-to-day approach and this fun, humble attitude, do you get that burning inside sense that this could be a monster season? Is there internal pressure to have this one great 14-game explosive season?
I mean, I'm gonna go as hard as I can like every single day, right? So like obviously like I have certain goals that I set for myself that I want to achieve, and I'm gonna push myself every day to like achieve those goals. So like yes, like I have a very like happy, like I'm very like happy person, yes, like but I am extremely competitive, and that's like the part where like it does like I can get really, really hard on myself, but that's the thing where it's like it's still like I still want to have fun, but winning is fun.
I mentioned Shane and Isaiah being gone from your group. How do you look at the edge position? And there, you got some newcomers competing on the other side from you. I mean, how do you look at both sides? I guess.
I mean, we have a lot of really, really talented guys. I mean, we got George Tarlas played a lot of football, played really, really well at Weber State. We have some athletic freaks. You have Cortez, Devin. And then you have like some of our young guys, like you have Jaden, Mason, Andy, James. Like we have a really, really talented group, and everybody's humble and wants to like be successful. I mean, like the thing is about the edge rooms, like we're all like super, super close. Like I mean, Shane is one of my best friends for life. Isaiah is one of my best friends for life. You look at the old stud room with Brillo, Kurt, Sam Witt, like, and Dylan, like we were all like super, super close, and we have like a relationship to like this day. Like I mean, I still like talk on the phone to Dylan right now, and we're still like always there for each other. I mean, I talk to Shane right now, and he's loving life in the middle of the mountains right now, just like paddleboarding, doing whatever. But he's still like, hey, like how's camp? Checking in, like how are the guys, and still like knowing a lot about it. So we're just a really, really close group. So it's hard to see guys go, but you want them to be successful in whatever they do.
So is Devin working behind you then, or?
Yeah, Devin's playing stud right now, and then George. But yeah, I mean, like the edge positions, like so. I mean, we all do like move around a lot, right? So it's kind of like pretty cool. I mean, you need a certain amount to play, so a lot of people play at that edge position.
After when you're going through your injury and recovery and stuff, were you able to kind of like get a bigger picture of like your future in football and then your future, after football?
Yeah, I mean, I like constantly. I mean, I got to do a lot, right? So it's like I graduated, had an internship. In my MBA right now. I mean, like just having the same attitude like I have with football, and like just constantly trying to get better every day. I know I'm gonna be successful in whatever I do. I mean, obviously football's been my dream my whole life. It's what I've wanted to excel at since I was a little kid. So I'm gonna like you kind of know like whether you take the same mindset, even what the coaches always say to life as in general, like you're gonna do really, really well.
When I was out of practice today, you guys had a session that looked like everybody was doing ball security. You guys were trying to scoop and score. The linemen were just trying to fall on that. So tell us what you guys all do and why is the ball security and stripping so important?
I mean, like, it's just like, I don't know, like Coach Av always talks about the ball's like your gift to the team and stuff like that. Like when you carry the ball, like you're presenting like your gift to the team, right? So it's defense, like pick up a fumble, get an interception, like you're gonna have the ball in your hands. And I had one this year, did not have the greatest ball security on it. But I mean, like, we're not used to doing it all the time, so it's like, why not practice it and something we can get better at together if we're gonna be put in that position.
And one of the other drills looked like you were trying to knock the pass down from a quarterback. So how can you work on that, and how can you make sure your hands are in the right spot?
It's just kind of like every day, like just constantly like knowing, hey, I'm not gonna get there, I'm gonna get my hands up, and just I'm gonna try to knock it down, just try to pressure and confuse the QB any way we can.
All right, Demitri. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was that the Wyoming game when you had your return?
Yeah, I should have housed it. I was soft.
You still got like